Can you hear me loud and clear? Please type a yes. Good afternoon, Biodun, Madam Onaji, Donald, Onyi, Luby. If you're there, you can hear me. Please type a yes. Let me know we're on the same page. All right, thank you, Blessing and Madam Onaji, Luby, Joshua, thank you. All right, so I want to welcome us to our pre-New Year session analysis. Today is Thursday, the 13th of March, 2025. Now, there are three events we're looking up to this afternoon. We have the core PPI, the PPI, and unemployment claims, all of them from the United States, and they are all high impact events, meaning volatility is expected. Now, let's look quickly at the details of each of these events. The first one is the core PPI monthly, and the source of this data is the Bureau of Labor Statistics in the United States. And this news measures the change in the price of finished goods and services sold by producers, excluding food and energy. And the effect is that actual greater than forecast is good for the currency. And we have the PPI monthly, and that's also from the source is also the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and it measures the change in the price of finished goods and services sold by producers. Again, actual greater than forecast is good for the currency. And the third is the unemployment claims. And the source of this data is the Department of Labor, and the news measures the number of individuals who filed for unemployment insurance for the first time during the past week. And the usual effect is that actual less than forecast is good for the currency. Now, this is the outlook I have for this event. If the data comes out, good for the dollar, if it is the core PPI and PPI. Now, the core PPI and PPI, they're actually related. It's the same type of data, but in different formats. So both of them, if the actual comes out greater than forecast, which means the data is good for the dollar, in that instance, we are expected to see a bullish movement, on the US dollar. Now, for the unemployment claims, if the actual comes out less than the forecast, that is what is good for the dollar, in which instance we still also see a bullish movement on the dollar. So if the three of them comes out green like this, then we'll have a bullish movement on the dollar. Now, if on the other hand, for the core PPI and PPI, the data comes out actual less than forecast. Don't forget, the actual for the core PPI is at 0.3%. The actual for the PPI is also 0.3%. So any data less than this, is said to be bad for the dollar, actual less than forecast. And in that case, we're expecting a bearish movement on the dollar. And on the other hand, for the unemployment claims, if the actual comes out greater than the forecast, that is what is bad for the dollar, and we expect the dollar to go bearish. So these are the two possible scenarios we'll have. We will have a green outcome where the data is generally good for the dollar, or a red outcome where the data is generally bad for the dollar. If it's good for the dollar, we're buying. If it's bad for the dollar, we're selling. But now these events are not also that related. For example, these two are related. That's the PPI and the core PPI, but the unemployment claims is a different data altogether. So the data may or may not come out to be in the same direction. What I mean is this: the core PPI and PPI combined together may be good for the dollar, while the unemployment claims may be bad for the dollar. Those are the two scenarios. And if that happens, if the data is in sorry, I have to mute everyone. Please, when you're joining this meeting, always make sure your device is muted so that it doesn't cause distractions. All right, so if the data comes out, opposing, it may result into a spike, a buying and selling. And in that situation, to be honest, the best thing to do is to stay out of the market. That's what is best to do in that scenario. But then we're still going to confirm with the technicals to know what our expectations in the market this afternoon will be. So I'm going to switch over now to my MetaTrader chart to look at what the technical is saying ahead of this news event. All right, I'm on my MetaTrader chart, and I'll start by analyzing the dollar index. That's the index that gives us clarity on what is happening to the dollar, which in turn will help us know what is happening across the major currency pairs. Now, the dollar index, my outlook for a long term on the dollar is a bearish outlook, though recently price hit a support level on the daily time frame. That's a couple of days back. And that may be good enough to help us push price back into the bullish direction, at least even if it's a retracement, provided the data comes out good for the dollar. So if the data comes out good for the dollar and price recently hit a support level, we might be expecting a bullish movement. Otherwise, price may still target the support and possibly break it for a further bearish breakout. So currently, we're not really having much clarity around the dollar index. So I'd rather go to the individual currencies to see what will really happen on the dollar. Now, this is the USD CHF. Price just touched the support zone on daily time frame briefly. And the data that was released yesterday from CPI came out bad for the dollar, and the day closed with a rejection candle. So there's a gap already created between the candle of yesterday and the support zone. So if the data comes out, some good for the dollar, some bad for the dollar, it will lead to a spike and a range around this period. So it depends. If the data comes out all, for me, I'm expecting a situation where the data comes out all bad for the dollar, because if you look at many economic events happening in the US is almost getting to the point of recession. If you are following the news, the stocks are down, a lot is down. Unemployment claims, measures the data for those who are unemployed and actively seeking employment in the US. We don't know whether it will be good or bad for the dollar this time around. But then generally, a lot of things is not just looking right in the American economy. And all this was triggered by the trade war that Trump picked up with Canada, with Mexico, and I think Greenland. All these things, they are having its effect. The shutting down the USAID, it's bringing up a lot of economic tension in the US. So generally, the outlook of the dollar still remains kind of bearish. And if the data comes out bad for the dollar, that will help us see the dollar drop further in its original bearish direction. So I still maintain my bearish outlook on the dollar while we wait for what the news really holds. Now, this is my view. If for one reason or the other, the data now comes out all good for the dollar, we will have a slight bullish movement, the dollar. But if it comes out bad, then price will be going in its long-term direction. We'll have a bigger movement to make more money, in that instance. So I still maintain my bearish outlook, on the dollar. And I will go further also by looking at the other major pairs where the dollar is a base currency, and that's the USD CAD and the USD JPY. Now, for the USD CAD, I've also held a bearish outlook for right from January. I said that I'm seeing a long-term bearish breakout, and price has formed a shoulder, a second shoulder, and we're expecting a downward movement. And as a further confirmation to that, on the daily time frame, I'm seeing the formation of a double top pattern, which is expected to drop price down further. But price is yet to get to the neckline, so we can't do much about that. But if I go down to the 4-hour time frame, on the 4-hour time frame, I'm also seeing a head and a shoulder pattern right here, which has broken out, and that could push price. Let's go down to 1 hour. I think I still have a pattern on 1 hour pointing us. All right, can see it clearly. Yesterday, we had a head and shoulder pattern very clear on the 1 hour, which has seen to a breakout of price. All right, so this is the shoulder, head, second shoulder. Please don't miss our physical training. People in Lagos, they can attest to this. These are the things we just did this morning, and they are seeing it in the analysis. So price already broke down the neckline and is retesting that region. So if the data comes out bad, we'll have a further bearish continuation. So the trend on the USD card is really pushing us more in the bearish direction. And it's even clearer here now compared to what we saw on the USD CHF. And finally, I will look at the USD JPY. All right, for the USD JPY, this is my outlook. I have a falling wedge pattern here on the 4-hour time frame. Now, this tells us of an overall bearish movement. So price is expected to be in the downtrend. But then, let me zoom out. There is a minor resistance here. Price hit that resistance yesterday, and there was a reversal. Let's go to the daily time frame. We can clearly see that the candle for yesterday closed as a rejection candle after price hit the minor resistance here. So if we take it down again, all right. So if you take it down to 1-hour time frame, I'm seeing a shoulder, a head, a second shoulder, and a breakout. So that's why I maintain my outlook of a bearish movement on the dollar, all things being equal. That's the neckline region. If price breaks out below the neckline region here, then we should anticipate a sell. So either you want to sell a USD card or a USD CHF. Let me just say, even this USD JPY is even much more clearer. If price is able to break out below this neckline, we should see the dollar fall. So for the dollar this afternoon, we are bearish biased. If the news comes out bad for the dollar, we are selling the USD JPY. And on the minimum, price is expected to hit this support level here. And that's an average of close to maybe like 85 pips. So if you can catch some 20, 30, 40 pips, that should just be good on this one. So I maintain my bearish outlook on the dollar ahead of the news this afternoon. Now, somebody is asking that should we enter a sell before it happens? I don't encourage that. I rather encourage maybe you use a sell stop order. So if you understand how rising and falling wedge patterns work, there is a breakout of the neckline. So you can put a sell stop order below the neckline region. Now, we are not going to be trading this live. We only trade NFP and CPI live. So just wait and see how the market moves before 1:30 p.m. Okay, that's just roughly some 50 minutes from now. So you can just look at the pending order below this, around this region where I've put my line, and put a sell stop order there. So when price gets to that level, it will automatically trigger you into the trade. And if price doesn't get to that level, then your trade is protected. It's either ways. Like I always tell us, we don't control the market. We only give you insight based on our experience, how the market works. All right, so that has confirmed my outlook on the dollar and the news I had this afternoon. So I think I'm done with that. So I'll just give you insight into some other pairs I'm looking at and my expectations on these pairs. I'm looking at now the dollar, I'm sorry, the AUD rather. The AUD is gaining some strength. The AUD is gaining some strength, and this strength is going to be reflected in Euro AUD and the AUD CHF. But then I think because of time, I'll just look at the AUD CHF and we can end the analysis there. Now, this is the AUD CHF. On the daily time frame, price hit a support level, and on the 4-hour, we can see price is forming an inverse head and shoulder pattern. So if price breaks out above that neckline region, we should expect a bullish breakout on the AUD CHF. And price may target the next resistance level, and that will be at some close to about 80 pips away. So if you're there, you're a swing trader, don't sleep on this one. Just wait for a new candle to open above the neckline region and you can ride the trend up. All right, so that'll be all from my analysis this afternoon. I'll take a few questions as we round up. Okay, Joshua Okore is asking gold, please, as regards the news. Now, I've maintained my long-term outlook on gold is bullish. And if the data this afternoon comes out bad for the dollar, then gold is expected to surge. I gave an analysis this morning where I gave my outlook on gold as bullish, and just in a matter of 2 hours, gold has gone up by over 80 pips. But then I want you to take some caution. There is a resistance on the daily time frame, which is about uh, some 60 pips away. So if the data comes out bad for the dollar from the United States by 1:30 p.m., you can buy gold. At least you can catch some 40, 50 pips on gold in the bullish direction. So if you're not down with trading the USD JPY and USD CAD as a sell, you can just place a buy on gold and see price go up. Because the reason is because gold is negatively correlated. So please take note of it. If the news is bad for the dollar, you are buying gold. You are not going to be selling gold, because in gold, the dollar is the quote currency, not the base currency. Euro USD and BTC. Okay, those are the two last I will do. Okay, Euro JPY. Okay, let me start from the first one. I've talked about gold, BTC, GJ. All right. Yeah, last week, Friday, I gave my outlook on BTC. You can see the pattern is still here, forming a symmetrical triangle where we anticipated price to drop. So price dropped out on the lower end. Now you can see I've dropped another symmetrical triangle in the WhatsApp group. Don't play with those setups. They work. They work like fire. Wherever price breaks out, that's where the market is going. If you check last week, I dropped for BTC. I said a breakout above is a buy, a breakout below is a sell. And price broke out below and it was able to hit 566 pips on BTC between last Friday and Monday this week. Now, this is my current outlook on BTC USD. If you go to the daily time frame, there we can find a support zone right here. You can see the shadows of this candle and this candle, they both meet at this support zone. So that's how we came about a support zone there. Now, when price hits a support, it indicates the possibility of a bullish movement in the market. So at that support zone, we're expecting a bullish movement on the BTC USD. But that's not all. It's not giving me clarity on what to expect around here. So I normally, if that happens, I go to check my line chart. I'll check my line chart. Line chart can give me clarity. Now, on my line chart, I'm seeing an inverse head and shoulder pattern here, which I expect will push price, up. So with that in mind, I have an inverse head and shoulder I'm looking at, which I expect to break price into the bullish direction. However, price is yet to be at it has not gone into the neckline region. So for us to look at buying the BTC, price needs to clearly break out above this neckline region. That's rectangle I drew up. Price needs to break it. And when price breaks it, then we'll see a massive bullish movement on BTC, because this is a 4-hour inverse head and shoulder setup. It's going to push price, really in the bullish direction. At least on the average, using Fibonacci tool, price is expected to get to Fibonacci 50. And that will be, okay, that's 61.8. Yes, Fibonacci 50 and 61.8 are generally the levels price will get to. Currently, price is trading at $82,800 per BTC. So price may push up to $84,900 and $86,000 per BTC on the average. It will actually be more than that. So what we need to do is to wait patiently for price to break out. Like I was telling my students in Lagos, patience is a virtue in trading. Don't just be ready to trigger. Wait for the right setup. So price is yet to be at the neckline region, but that's my view. That's the outlook. Over time, I expect price to break that neckline region into the bullish direction. So I maintain my bullish outlook on BTC USD. GJ. All right, so I'll do the GJ and the Euro JPY. Both of them are JPY pairs. Okay, so this is the GBP JPY, and price hit a resistance zone yesterday, closed on that resistance zone. Let's go down to the 4-hour. Okay, let me start from the weekly. Okay, nothing much on the weekly. For daily time frame, we have a resistance 4-hour. We're seeing some downtrend 1 hour. Perfect. Now, on the 1 hour, it's clearly forming an inverse head and shoulder, and that may push price downwards. So we have the neckline region. Now, price is actually really trying to break that level. You can see the current candle is trending downwards. Now, if this candle closes below this trend line, okay, for further confirmation, I will still expect a little breakout below these smaller candles here so that we can be sure of a clear breakout. So I will say maybe wait for another candle to break this minor support zone. After that, you can trigger a sell on the GBP, JPY. RSI is clearly below 50, and MACD is clearly below 0. So it's actually in the sell zone, though not yet time to trigger a sell. All you need to wait for is a new candle below this minor support zone, and you can trigger a sell. Okay, it's already 1 p.m., so a new candle has formed. So wait patiently for this current candle to break this support zone, and from that point, you can trigger a sell. Or if you feel you are not going to be patient enough to check, you can also put a sell stop order, maybe some 5 pips below that box, and you can go ahead and do other things while you anticipate the breakout to happen. But generally, I'm bearish on the GBP JPY. And on the Euro JPY is having a similar structure. Now, this is the Euro. Okay, it's not exactly the same, but the trend is still the same. For the Euro JPY, you can see that the trend line is coming downwards. We have a series of lower highs. This is indicative of a further bearish, movement in the market. And a confirmation to that is the point here where price touched the lower high, and it closed yesterday as a rejection candle. Now you can see that today's candle is this red one, showing that the market is, having a bearish trend. So what we need to look out for now is a possibility of entry. On 4-hour, we don't have any information, but on 1 hour, just like what we saw on the GBP JPY, we have a shoulder, a head, a second shoulder, and we are anticipating a breakout. And just like I gave on the GBP JPY, you need to wait for price to clearly break, this minor support. But this one is more critical because it's a resistance turn support zone here. You need to wait for a new candle to break below this level to trigger a sell. Now, some people will tell me that, but eventually, since it will break it eventually, why not let me enter a sell now? This is trading. Anything can happen. Anything can happen in that country, and one economic policy may be issued that may change direction. So it's better you wait for that new candle to open, or better still, like I said the other time, if you know you cannot wait below that rectangle, just add some 5-10 pips and put a sell stop order, and you can go and do other things while you wait for the price of the market to do its thing. So I'm bearish also on the Euro JPY, just like I'm bearish on the GBP JPY. Euro USD, you're welcome, Madam Onaji. All right, so Euro USD will be the last one I'll look at, and we should be done for the day. So we hold a bearish outlook on the dollar, and if you are bearish on the dollar, then we will likely be bullish on the Euro USD, because for the Euro USD, the dollar is a quote currency, not the base currency. So this is my view of the Euro USD. Price hits the resistance level a couple of days ago. Now we have a valid resistance here, and price hit it on Monday. You know, until okay, today is Thursday. Sorry, price hit it on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, yeah, the data for NFP came out, you know, really bad for the dollar. But that aside, we saw some bearish candles there on the Euro USD. If the data today for the dollar comes out bad, like we are anticipating, price will go back at least to hit this resistance, this minor. It's actually a minor resistance, not a major one. It's a minor one. Price will hit that resistance. And if the volatility is really strong, price may break that resistance. So I hold a bullish outlook on the Euro USD. All right, so that'll be all. I think I've attended to everybody, for all the requests from BTC to gold to GJ to EJ and the Euro USD. All right, trade safe and enjoy the rest of the day. Physical classes session is still running, Abuja and Lagos. We're currently in training both at the Abuja and Lagos offices. And we're ending this batch of training for the month of, for the first batch of training for the month of March, you know, is ending today. Next week, Tuesday, we'll start the second batch for the month. So if you're here to attend physical training, you're based around Lagos and its environment, or around Abuja and its environment, then find out which our offices in both Abuja and Lagos from next week, Tuesday. We're running a proper schedule now, and everything runs within 2 weeks. So you can devote 2 weeks to gain the skill that can last you a lifetime, which is the skill of how to trade, not just the forex market alone, but the financial market, because this skill works across board. You can trade forex, stocks, gold, cryptocurrency, commodities, everything. You can trade it with the skill we're giving you at this training. If you don't have an account with PU Prime, go ahead and open a live account at the website, www.puprime.com. Verify your account and also fund. And if you want to enjoy signals, raw signals, then make sure you have a funded account with us so that you can join our funded client group where we drop a lot of signals. All right, take care and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye-bye.